Playhouse 451 presents The War of the Worlds. Those of you tuning in tonight for what you believed would be another fine hour of dramatic excellence that you've come to expect from Playhouse 451, obviously we've gone a little off script here. We were to be bringing you tonight our rendition of Orson Welles' adaptation of H.G. Wells' classic The War of the Worlds, and approximately 8 minutes into that broadcast, which is to say some 4 minutes ago, this was around the famous moment in the story when a UFO touches down in Grover's Mill, New Jersey. I was handed this bulletin, which I read aloud on the air and shall read again for you now. Dateline, Washington, D.C. A UFO has landed in the proximity of the White House and has begun emitting a laser death ray into the surrounding buildings, into automobiles, and at bystanders, including firing a death ray at the White House itself. Now, obviously this cannot be true. Obviously, I'm being made the butt of a cruel joke here, most likely perpetrated by my engineer Martin, who is known around the studio, frankly, as something of a prankster. Nevertheless, that is a report that I have been given, and so I'm actually not quite sure what to make of it. We've been trying to reach our news desk for some confirmation and have thus far been unsuccessful in doing so. I, of course, am not a newsman. I am an actor. I have appeared on numerous episodes of Playhouse 451. This was to be my solo debut tonight, a one-man adaptation of War of the Worlds, and obviously it is not working out quite the way I had planned. So, I think we'll just take a little break while I try to sort through what we've got going on here. Martin, would you come in here for a second, please? And to try to figure out exactly what is going on here. And in the meantime, let's listen to some of the soothing sounds of Ben Jones and his orchestra. Switchboards are lighting up in the studio with reports of riots in the streets as far away as Dayton, Ohio, Wichita, Kansas, and Phoenix, Arizona, with people abandoning their homes and automobiles, breaking windows, looting, apparently some reports of copulation in the streets, and all of this apparently connected to the information being broadcast by this program tonight. So, I feel obliged to say that to those of you in these affected listening areas, if you are rioting because of our first report tonight of a UFO in Grover's Mill, New Jersey, that story was a hoax. That was part of our Playhouse 451 rendition of Orson Welles' adaptation of H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds, and it was not true. There is no UFO in New Jersey so far as I know. If you are writing over our second report that a UFO has landed in Washington, D.C., then I actually don't know what to tell you about that. It seems impossible, frankly, and we're still trying to reach our news desk and have been unable to do so at this time. So I don't exactly know what to do here. Let's I suppose we'll take a quick break and listen to more of Ben Jones and his orchestra. Dateline, Washington, D.C., President Truman has apparently been evaporated by a laser death ray fired at the White House. So, okay, obviously now I can see that this is a joke being played at my expense. And again, the likely suspect here is my engineer Martin, who is a bit of a prankster. He's a funny guy around the studio here, and with only people in the studio at the moment. So I know he has a bit of a reputation, and I'm sure that all of this is simply he's shaking his head no. Okay. Dateline, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York. UFOs now being reported over every major American city. Our phone lines are still jammed with calls, but none of them from these areas. All of them from places reported to have riots in the streets. None of them from places purported to have a UFO hovering over it. So how about this? Let me ask you now, for those of you who are calling from an area that is rioting only, not to call in for just a moment. and for anyone who has a direct line of sight on a UFO, you're going to be our man on the street eyewitness reporter here. So please, only those of you who are right now looking at a UFO, call in to confirm what we're being told, while we are waiting for your call here for confirmation or not. I don't know what we'll do. I guess we'll listen to more Ben Jones and his fucking orchestra. Approximately 6 minutes ago, the phone lines in the studio here went completely silent. I don't mean dead, because the lines are still open and working properly. I know this because I just tried to call my mother and father, though I didn't get them. So, yes, and I know I asked for only those of you who are looking directly at a UFO to call, and so the optimist in me says that perhaps that's what your sudden and frankly striking silence means, that no one is actually looking at a UFO, and that this silence is confirmation that we are not, in fact, under attack. Yet the silence was so sudden and so complete. Not even someone calling in to request a song or anything like that. So I know I said not to call unless you were looking directly at a UFO, but if one of you, I don't care who, would just simply call into the station to let me know that the phone lines are working properly, and just to let me know that you're just to let me know. A short time ago, my engineer Martin thought he heard a scratching noise coming from one of the windows in another part of the station. He took a flashlight and said he was going to investigate and would be right back. And I begged him not to go, not to leave me alone. And now he has been gone for 8.5 minutes. So, I realize that all of this is very likely still a joke, and that Martin is probably out in his automobile right now, listening to me on the radio and having a good laugh at my expense, and that somehow he convinced all of you in the listening audience to play along, somehow. So, very good, you got me. I can certainly take a joke, and this one was very funny. So, Martin, if you are listening in your automobile, please come back inside now. Or, if anyone in our listening audience would like to call in, even just to say you've been had, you are a very foolish man for believing this, I will be the first to agree with you. I agree. No hard feelings. It was a very good, very funny joke. And so the whole thing was really quite, yes. So if anyone wants to simply call in and tell me that, or to tell me anything at all, is anyone out there? And has been, I would say, perhaps 23 minutes or so since anyone at all has called into this station, for any reason at all. So I have begun to believe, albeit begrudgingly, that this is no hoax, that we are indeed under attack by an invading force of Martians. So I had considered signing off of this program, perhaps leaving the studio to find some shelter, or to, I don't really know what I would do. But I have decided to stay on. I see that the red light in the studio is still on, and so I must be broadcasting. And so, even if this program is a mere entertainment, just a playhouse of fiction and other foolishness, at this moment it is at least a human voice. And perhaps that is what we need at the moment. A bit of conversation. It's not a conversation, no one is talking to me, but that is fine. I will continue to speak to you. So, why don't we just listen to a little more of Ben Jones and his orchestra? Listen to it together, shall we? You know, that's not really so bad, is it? Kind of a pleasant way to go out, if this is the last song that we ever hear together. So let's just enjoy it, shall we?